Chapter 1. I held my breath as the SupremeShop sign came into view, white and sterile against the drizzling gray sky. My palms sweated against the steering wheel. Another first day, except this time I was more than Lena Rodriguez, nervous new hire. I was a junior member of the Regional Labor Board, undercover, sworn to secrecy, and not nearly as brave as I looked in the mirror this morning. Pulling my hood over my long brown hair, I hurried across the slushy parking lot. Inside, the scent of lemon cleaner and new cardboard was as harsh as the industrial lighting. Racks on racks of discount luxury, goods gleamed under flickering fluorescents, stretching back to an employees-only door propped open with a broom. A deep, practiced voice drew my attention. Mr. Johnson, the manager, stood just beyond the threshold. He was broad-shouldered with a neatly trimmed beard, round designer glasses perched on his nose despite the lack of sunlight. He gave me a dazzling CEO smile. "Lena, right? Welcome to SupremeShop. We're a family here." He ushered me inside with a warm hand on my back, the gesture too familiar for comfort. "You're the new associate on the morning shift. We're in a pinch, so I'll have you shadowing both sales and stock today. Every great opportunity starts with a challenge, right?" "Thank you, sir," I said, keeping my eyes wide and eager. Inside, my stomach twisted. According to the schedule I'd received, my shift should have ended by 3. The clipboard he handed me listed tasks well into the evening. "I just want to clarify my hours," I asked, voice careful. "The orientation email said 8 to 3, but..." He waved my question away with a little laugh. "Paperwork always lags behind reality. Trust me, if you're a team player, you'll do great here. We reward extra effort." I smiled, though a voice in my head shouted, "Document that." He led me to a little alcove with an ancient time clock anchored to the wall. "Just swipe before and after your shift. Easy." I watched the screen flicker, and unless I was mistaken, display my name while automatically dropping off minutes from the end. Odd. I signed the orientation forms, standard contracts, non-disclosure, a team values pledge. Each signature pressed into me the weight of the role I played. Every word another mask. For 2 hours, I helped stock awkward folding chairs onto high shelves, lugged 10-pound boxes to the home goods department, and fielded an endless stream of customer questions from the sales floor. The older associates moved at half my pace, glancing at the clock only when Mrs. Carter wasn't around. She was a squat, silver-haired woman who scrutinized me with hawkish severity as I worked. At noon, I ducked into the break room with 3 exhausted coworkers. Their hands were rough, fingers stained from inventory stickers. I scribbled task notes in my confidential log as they chatted about the good old days under the first manager, when lunch breaks were longer than 10 minutes. I kept quiet. I was here to listen, to learn. At one point, I excused myself to use the restroom, and on my way back, paused by the time clock. I watched as Paula, the night shift lead, swiped her card. The screen blinked almost imperceptibly and logged her as out before she strode down the hall in her apron and hairnet, clearly on her way to fill a late delivery. Was it a glitch or something else? My phone buzzed in my pocket. I ducked into the storage aisle and pulled it out. A text from Emily Chen. "Emily, *how, Supreme Hell, find anything actionable?" A smile involuntarily curved my lips. Even from her dorm room, Emily somehow always knew when I needed backup. Me, *weird time clock. People working past their shifts but clocked out early. Also, payload. Johnson, we reward extra effort, wink wink. Emily, keep notes. LT can't know you're with the board. Get digital proof if possible. Stay safe. As I pocketed my phone, Mrs. Carter's voice echoed down the hall. "Rodriguez, we need you at checkout now." Her tone brooked no argument. I joined the register team, scanning merchandise while my brain whirred with invisible calculations. Every anomalous transaction, every tired glance from employees who stayed long past their shifts, pieces of a puzzle I was expected to solve, but right now barely understood. My feet ached, my head throbbed. None of it showed on my face. At 4:30, after 7 straight hours, Johnson cornered me near the loading dock. "Great job today, Lena. Don't be afraid to go the extra mile. Promotions come to those who step up willingly. He winked, his tone full of cultivated warmth. My mouth went dry. Thank you, sir. Should I clock out? I asked, glancing at my watch. Of course, whenever you're ready. Family first, Lena. His smile gleamed too perfectly. He strode away, leaving me with an uneasy flutter in my chest. I watched as the last flickers of sunlight faded beyond the smudged store windows, and finally swiped my card at the time clock. Again, the display blinked, a few minutes short. Back in the parking lot, I crumpled into my car seat and scrolled through my notes, fingers shaking. Had anyone else noticed the time clock manipulation, the workload, the vague threats disguised as praise? I texted Emily in a blur. Me, asterisk, it's worse than I thought. He assigns double shifts. Clock system auto-adjusts out times. How do I get real proof WO blowing my cover? She replied instantly. Document every detail. Email yourself at home. Don't trust store Wi-Fi. Remember your reason, Lena. You've got this. I closed my eyes, picturing my parents, laid off without cause, wages lost forever. I opened my photo album and started backing up today's time clock screen. The drizzle turned to proper rain as I pulled onto the highway. The first day was over, and the real work, the undercover work, had truly begun. The first thing I noticed when I walked into SupremeShop was how cold it felt inside. I shivered, but maybe it was just because I was nervous. This was my first day as a retail worker, but secretly I wasn't just a normal worker. I was there for something more. Mr. Johnson stood by the door. He wore shiny glasses and had a pointy beard. He gave me a big smile and said, Lena, right? Welcome to the team. His voice sounded friendly, but something about his eyes made me uneasy. Thank you, I said. My hands felt sweaty, so I hid them in my pockets. We're glad to have you, he said. Today is busy. I need you to help with both stocking shelves and sales. It's a lot, but I know you can do it. I looked at his clipboard. I was supposed to finish by 3, but the list went on and on. That seems like a lot, I said quietly. Am I working until 3? Mr. Johnson laughed. It sounded fake. Don't worry, sometimes we ask everyone to pitch in a little extra. You'll get used to it. Teamwork is important here. I nodded, but my stomach hurt. I didn't want to cause trouble on my first day. I hoped he was telling the truth, but I wasn't sure. He pointed to the corner. You just swipe your card to clock in and out. Easy, right? Yeah, I said and tried it. The screen blipped, and it looked like my name flashed on and off way too fast. He turned away and called, Get started on the new home products, please. They need to be on the shelves by lunch. I hurried to the boxes. My heart pounded. I wanted to do a good job, even though I was here for more than work. I needed to find the truth. A few hours later, I was putting towels on a high shelf and heard a new voice. Hey there, you're new, right? It was a lady with silver hair. She looked strict. I found out her name was Mrs. Carter. Yes, I said. My arms ached from lifting. She looked me up and down. Don't stand around. Mr. Johnson likes hard workers. I bit my lip. Sorry, I'm just organizing these by color. She didn't smile. That's fine, but we don't need slackers here, remember that. I nodded. My face felt hot. Fear crept in. I really did not want to mess up. At lunch, I sat alone in the break room. I watched some of the other workers come in. They looked so tired. One woman had red eyes, like she had been crying. Hi, I said, but she didn't answer. She put her head on the table and closed her eyes. I wanted to text my friend Emily, so I pulled out my phone. Any news? Emily wrote. Yes, I texted back. Weird things here. They made me work extra. The clock and machine looks wrong. Emily wrote, Be very careful, write everything down. Don't let anyone find out. I was scared now. Was I making a mistake being here? I remembered my parents losing their jobs and nobody helping them. That's why I agreed to help the labor board. I couldn't back out, but I wished Emily was here. I hated being alone. After lunch, Mrs. Carter caught me looking at the time clock. She frowned. Why are you staring at that? I tried to think fast. Just checking I clocked in right. She crossed her arms. Team players don't watch the clock. People who stare at the clock don't last long here. Her words made my chest tight. I was angry and afraid. Was she threatening me? I just wanted. Work hard, that's all we ask, she said, cutting me off. Then she walked away. On my next break, I called Emily. My voice shook. I don't know if I can do this, I said. Emily sounded serious. Remember why you started, Lena. Don't let them scare you. Start small, just write down everything you see. Take pictures if you can, but be safe. I closed my eyes. What if they catch me? Mrs. Carter is so mean. I think she's watching me. Emily said, she's trying to scare you. People like that always do. Don't let them win. You are smarter than they think. A tear rolled down my cheek. I wiped it fast, hoping nobody saw. After my shift was supposed to be over, I was still mopping the floor. I went to clock out and the machine beeped. My time card said I finished 2 hours ago. That can't be right. I stared at the glowing screen. I felt a mix of fear and anger. Were they lying about everyone's hours? Was I the only one noticing? I wanted to yell. Just then Mr. Johnson walked by. He smiled, but now his smile seemed dangerous. You're still here, he said. I wanted to finish my work, I said quietly. That's the spirit, he said, and his eyes sparkled in a way that made me shiver. People who work hard do best here, Lena. Remember that. I watched him walk away. My chest felt tight. Was he warning me, or was it worse? I rushed out to my car and sat in the dark. I grabbed my phone and started to take a picture of my time card. My hands shook. I almost dropped the phone when I saw a shadow move between the cars. Someone was there, watching me. My heart hammered in my chest. I couldn't breathe. What if they knew my secret? I started my car as fast as I could, not looking back. I had to get out of there. But tomorrow, I knew I'd have to come back. What if I was already in too deep? I was so tired my legs hurt. I stood in the empty store, staring at my time card. It said I finished working at 3 o'clock, but it was almost 5. How did that happen? I was still cleaning up, just like Mr. Johnson told me. I felt angry, but mostly scared. I stuffed the card back in my pocket and tried to leave. Just then, I heard footsteps. My heart pounded. Mrs. Carter stood by the time clock, arms folded tight. What are you doing? She asked. I jumped a little. I was just checking my time card, I said. She glared at me. Team players don't care about the clock. Are you a team player, Lena? Yes, I said too quickly. My mouth was dry. I just didn't want to mess something up. I'm new. She shook her head. If you want to stay, you need to stop asking questions. People who ask too much usually don't last. I felt a lump in my throat. Was she making a threat? I nodded, eyes on the floor. She stepped closer. If you make trouble, you'll be gone before you know it. Trust me. After she left, I ran to my locker. I fumbled for my phone and called Emily. I could barely whisper when she answered. Emily, it's so bad. They're faking our hours. They're mean. Mrs. Carter said I'll lose my job if I ask questions. Emily sounded mad. That's not right, she said. Lena, do you want to get out? I wanted to say yes. My voice shook. I don't know, my head hurts. I feel like they're watching me all the time. Emily was quiet for a second. Remember why you took this job, she said softly. You wanted to help people like your parents. Don't let them scare you away. I bit my lip. But what if they find out? What if I get fired? Emily took a deep breath. It's okay to be scared, but you're not alone, Lena. I'll help you. Let's make a plan. A plan, I said. She sounded sure. Make little notes. Keep them secret. Write everything down. If you can, take pictures. And only talk to me on your own phone. Don't use the store's Wi-Fi. My hands were still shaking. Okay, but I don't know how long I can do this. I hardly slept last night. I keep seeing Mrs. Carter's face in my head, and Mr. Johnson acts so nice, but he is. Emily said, that's all on purpose. That's how bad bosses keep people quiet, but they shouldn't get away with it. I wiped my eyes. Maybe I am in too deep already, Emily. She said, Lena, you're strong. You can do hard things. I'll walk you through it. You only need proof. They can't hurt you with the truth. Are you safe to leave now? Yes, I said, but my voice was small. I looked over my shoulder, feeling like someone was watching. That night at home, I sat on my bed, holding my phone. I typed a list of everything I saw. I wrote, "Clock says I leave early, but I stay late." Then I wrote, "Mrs. Carter warned me. Mr. Johnson acted nice but didn't care." I kept writing until I felt a little braver. But then I remembered the woman at lunch. She had sat with her head down and didn't say a word. I remembered the old man rubbing his back and looking so tired, but never stopping to rest. Were they scared too? Did they have secrets just like me? I wondered. The next day I tried to smile as I walked into work. I saw Mr. Johnson by the door. "How are you today, Lena?" he said, looking right at me. "I'm okay," I said. I wanted to say more but bit my tongue. He leaned close and whispered, "You're a hard worker. I notice things like that. Just keep your eyes forward and don't listen to gossip." My stomach twisted. He was warning me, or was he testing me? When I walked by the staff room, I heard two people talking softly. "She was at the time clock again," one voice said. It sounded like Mrs. Carter. "Keep an eye on her," said a man. Was that Mr. Johnson? "I don't like troublemakers." I kept walking, but my mind raced. Did they mean me? Did they know? My hands went cold. I wanted to run, but I couldn't. Later, I texted Emily. "I think they're on to me," I wrote. "What do I do now?" She answered fast. "Stick to the plan. You are not alone." But as I stood by the shelf, a shadow moved behind the boxes. Someone was watching me. My heart pounded. What if I was in real trouble now? At lunch, I sat at a small table near the window, trying to act normal. My hands shook as I opened my sandwich. My mind was spinning. I wanted to disappear, but I needed to be strong, so I took a deep breath. A girl with short blonde hair sat next to me. "Hi," she said. Her name tag said Sam. "Hi," I said. I tried not to sound nervous. "You're new, right?" Sam said. She leaned closer. "How's your first week?" "It's a lot," I said. "So many tasks, and the hours seem weird." Sam looked down and whispered, "It's like this for all of us." She bit her lip. "Don't talk about hours here. Last month, Tom asked about overtime and now he's gone." I gasped. "They fired him," I said. She nodded. "They said it was bad attitude, but everyone knows it was about pay." My heart hurt for Tom. I wanted to help, but I felt scared. "That's not right," I said. Sam shook her head. "SHH, Mrs. Carter's coming." I turned and saw Mrs. Carter glaring at us. She marched over. "Are you two done with lunch?" she said. Sam looked scared. "Yes, almost." Mrs. Carter stared at me. "No chatting about company matters, that's a rule," she said. "We work hard here, there's no room for gossip." I felt anger in my chest, but I just nodded. "Yes, ma'am," I said. After she left, Sam whispered, "Be careful. If they hear you talking, they will find a reason to fire you too." I nodded. My hands felt cold. Later, Mr. Johnson pulled me aside as I was putting price tags on socks. He smiled, but his eyes didn't match his smile. "Lena," he said, "I see you talking to the others during lunch. Let's have a chat, just you and me." I tried to stay calm. "Okay," I said. My voice shook a little. He led me to his small office. He closed the door. "I like your work, Lena. You do more than most," he said. "But we have a rule here. Never talk about your pay or hours with other team members. That's personal." I felt scared. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean." He cut me off. "We've had problems in the past. If anyone breaks this rule, I can't keep them. Do you understand?" I nodded fast. "I understand," I said. Mr. Johnson made his voice softer, almost kind. "I want you to be a star here, Lena. Just remember, you work hard, you keep your head down, you'll go far." He smiled, but it made me feel cold inside. As soon as I left his office, my phone buzzed with a message from Emily. "We need to get some proof," she said. "Let's meet tonight." I typed back, "Yes, please." I couldn't wait to see her. On my next break, I spotted a pile of employee handbooks. Something was odd. There were two stacks, one with blue covers and one with green. I grabbed one of each and flipped through them. The blue book said, SupremeShop Employee Handbook for everyone to read. It talked about fair pay and teamwork. The green book hidden behind was different. It said internal use only. It had much stricter rules. One rule said, overtime must be cleared but is discouraged. Another rule said, extra work is expected but not discussed with anyone but management. My heart raced. They had 2 sets of rules. I hid the green book in my bag. After work, I met Emily at a coffee shop on the corner. She waved me over. I slumped in the chair. It's awful, I said. People get fired for asking about pay. There's a secret handbook with bad rules. Mr. Johnson warned me today. Emily leaned close. We have to be careful. We don't want anyone to see us together. I nodded. Can you help me get proof? She smiled and pulled out her laptop. I can install a recorder app on your phone. You just tap the button before a meeting, and I'll show you how to track your hours on your own file, secretly. I felt hope for the first time all day. Thank you, Emily. I don't know what I'd do without you. She said, don't thank me yet. She handed me a tiny pen I could clip in my shirt. This can record sound, too. I took the pen and shoved it in my pocket. My hands still shook, but now from excitement. As I left the cafe, I looked back. I saw a car I didn't know parked across the street. Someone sat inside, watching. I wondered if it was just my mind playing tricks. Or, maybe, Mr. Johnson's warning was bigger than I thought. I walked faster, my heart pounding. I knew things were about to get much harder. I was restocking socks when I heard a beep from the back office. I peeked around the corner and saw Mrs. Carter at the main computer. She didn't see me. Her fingers moved fast over the keys. I watched as she clicked on something that looked like the time clock program. She said, let's just fix this right now, and changed the numbers on the screen. I saw names disappear from extra hours. My chest felt tight. My hands felt cold and heavy. Was she taking away people's work hours? Why would she do that? I heard her mutter, no one here needs to know, and then she stood up. I ducked quickly behind the doorway and held my breath. After she left, I wanted to run, but I stayed quiet. I tried not to shake. This was real proof. Later, while I was folding towels, an older worker named Carlos stepped close. He looked tired, with dark circles under his eyes. He whispered, Lena, can I talk to you? I nodded. Sure, I said. He looked scared. I'm so tired, Carlos said. My back hurts every day. I want to see a doctor, but I'm scared to take time off. If I ask for sick days, I might lose my job. My wife needs my paycheck. I felt sad and angry at the same time. I'm sorry, Carlos, I said. He shook his head. Everyone is scared here. We don't have a choice. I didn't know what to say. I just listened. I wished I could help right that second, but I was scared too. When I left the towel aisle, I almost bumped into Mr. Johnson. He smiled and put a hand on my shoulder. Lena, he said, I have a special job for you. I want you to help with our next store event this weekend. Not everyone gets picked for something like this. I nodded and tried to sound excited. Thank you, sir, I said. He smiled wider. I'm giving you access to the back office now. I trust you. Maybe someday you'll even move up to supervisor. Wouldn't that be nice? My heart beat fast. I couldn't tell if he was rewarding me or watching me. I'd like that, I said, even though I didn't mean it. He handed me a new badge. This lets you into the safe room. Only trusted people get that. I took the badge and hid my shaking hands in my pockets. I said, what should I do first? He said, inventory count, but don't talk about it with anyone. And remember, loyalty is everything in this job. Yes, sir, I said, but inside I felt sick. Was this a trap, or did he really trust me? I slipped away and texted Emily. I have access to more rooms now, I wrote. I saw Mrs. Carter change times in the computer. Carlos is scared to call out sick. Emily wrote back fast. You're doing amazing. Get photos if you can, but be careful. Don't let them see you. I typed, my hands won't stop shaking. I don't want to mess up. Emily said, breathe, Lena, you're not alone. They cannot get away with this forever. After our text, I tried to take photos of the screens in the office. but my hands trembled so much that I was scared the pictures would come out blurry. Emily's voice rang in my head. Stay strong. At the end of my shift, I found Carlos again in the parking lot. He looked older now, just from a few hours. I said, "Are you okay?" He shook his head. "My chest hurts, but if I miss work, I lose health insurance. My kids need food. I wish I could leave, but I can't." I wanted to cry. I hated how unfair this was. "Don't give up," I said quietly. "Someone will help, I promise." As we talked, I saw Mrs. Carter watching us from the doorway. Her eyes were narrow. She was listening. She heard me, I knew it. She said, "Break over. No standing around. Get inside, both of you." Carlos hurried away. I glared at her, but only on the inside. When I got home that night, I couldn't stop thinking about what I saw. Mrs. Carter changing the hours. Carlos in pain. Mr. Johnson pretending to trust me. I was angrier than ever, but it made me afraid, too. If they found out what I was doing, I could get everyone in more trouble. I texted Emily one more time. "I'm afraid I'll lose control. I want to yell at them. Should I stop?" She sent back, "You have more power than you think, but don't show your anger. Hold on a little longer." I stared at the ceiling and told myself to be brave. Tomorrow, I would try to get even closer to the truth. But then my phone buzzed. It was a new number. The message said, "We're watching you, Lena." I stared at the screen, my heart pounding hard. How did they know my name? Emily and I sat together in her tiny room, laptops open and papers everywhere. I was so tired my hands felt numb. Emily pushed her red glasses up and said, "Lena, you got a lot of evidence here. You know that, right?" I nodded. "I hope it's enough," I said. "They keep changing people's hours. It isn't just me. It's almost everyone." Emily pointed at the list. 37 people, Lena. That's not a mistake. That's on purpose." My voice shook. "That's thousands of dollars. Mr. Johnson and Mrs. Carter, they are stealing time from everyone." Emily's fingers flew over her keyboard. "I'm making an extra backup," she said, "but you need more pictures, especially of those altered time sheets." I swallowed hard. "What if Mrs. Carter catches me?" I said. "You just have to be careful," Emily said. "Only take the photos if it's safe. You can do this. Just remember why you're doing it." "I do remember," I said. "My family lost everything when my parents had their pay stolen. I want to help everyone here, but sometimes I feel like I'm going to mess up. It's getting so hard to hide everything. I'm tired all the time. I can't focus at school. I keep thinking about work." Emily looked worried. "You don't have to do this alone," she said. "I'll help you. If we get enough proof, the labor board will step in. They have to." Later that night, I snuck back into SupremeShop to copy more time sheets. My hands shook so bad I almost dropped my phone. As I snapped a picture, I heard footsteps. I froze. Mrs. Carter's voice was sharp. "What are you doing in here, Lena?" My heart thudded in my ears. I lied. I forgot my phone charger. I thought I left it in the office." She frowned hard. "You shouldn't be in here after hours. Only trusted workers get that kind of access." I tried to sound small. "I'm sorry, ma'am, I'll leave." She stared at me for a long time, then said, "Make sure you lock up. If anything's missing, I'll know who to blame." I nodded, trying to squeeze past her. She didn't move at first. Finally, after what felt like forever, she let me go. I was shaking when I got out, but I still had the photos. Outside in the parking lot, I called Emily. "She almost caught me," I said. "But she didn't get you, right?" Emily asked. "No," I said. "Not this time. I have the photos." "Good work," she said. "Send them. I'll put them with the rest. We're almost there." When I got home, I tried to do my homework for school. The words looked blurry. I felt like crying. I put my head down on my math book and just let the tears come. I wanted to give up. It was so hard doing two things at once. I couldn't even remember when I last slept a whole night. The next morning, I walked into the store and almost ran into a man in a suit. I had never seen him before. He was standing near the milk coolers, talking quietly into his phone. When he hung up, he came over. "Are you Lena?" he said in a soft voice. I nodded, feeling scared. He smiled quickly. "Don't worry," he said quietly. "I'm from the labor board, just checking in. You're almost there. Watch for a sign in a week. Be careful. Don't tell anyone I was here." He winked and walked away as fast as he had come. My hands felt shaky again, but I couldn't help smiling just a little bit. Maybe soon this would all be over. But then, when I walked into the back room, I saw Mrs. Carter looking right at me. "You look tired, Lena," she said in her cold way. "Are you sure you're not getting in over your head?" I tried to hold my ground. "I'm fine," I said, but inside I was scared. Did she know about the man in the suit? Did she know about my photos? Mrs. Carter just stared back, her eyes narrow. "We expect loyalty here," she said. "People who aren't loyal don't last." I felt my stomach turn. I had to stay strong. The labor board was coming. I just had to hold on a little longer. That night, my phone buzzed as I was falling asleep. It was another unknown number. The message only said, "You think you're safe, you're not." I stared at my phone, heart beating so loud I could hear it. Who was watching me this time? The store felt different when I walked in that morning. People whispered in corners, and some wouldn't even look at me. I felt worried. Something was wrong. I set out books on the front table, but my hands shook. I saw Mr. Johnson talking to Mrs. Carter near the office. His face was red. He sounded mad. He shouted, "Did you hear? There will be an inspection." Mrs. Carter said, "We have to fix all the time sheets. No one can know what really happened." My heart pounded. The labor board was coming, just like the man in the suit promised. But I still felt scared. I didn't know if I was ready. Mr. Johnson noticed me standing there and frowned. "Lena, come here." I walked over. He stared at me so hard I almost looked away. He said, "We're making changes. You've been working here for a while now, right?" "Yes," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. He said, "Good. I have to make you shift supervisor. You'll get a little more pay. I need your help today. Can I trust you?" I nodded, but inside I felt stuck. If I said no, he would know something was weird. If I said yes, I had to be careful. "I trust you," I said softly. He gave a fake smile. "That's what I like to hear. Go help Mrs. Carter in the office." My stomach felt tight as I walked into the office. Mrs. Carter was shredding papers. She looked angry. She said, "Lena, close the door. You can help sort these files. Don't talk to anyone about what you see." I nodded but peeked at the trash can. There were old-time cards inside. I wanted to take them, but I couldn't. Mrs. Carter watched my every move. I tried to work and text Emily at the same time. I typed, "They're shredding papers. Maybe there's no proof left." Emily wrote back, "Stay calm. You just need enough. Save what you can." I was scared I had waited too long. I felt tears pushing up, but I swallowed hard. I couldn't cry, not now. While I was stacking files, an employee named Anna came into the office. She looked upset. She said, "Mrs. Carter, why did I get moved off the holiday schedule? I needed those hours." Mrs. Carter snapped, "You ask too many questions. We need team players for holidays." Anna's face fell. She looked at me for help, but I couldn't say anything. I felt helpless and angry. Anna said, "This isn't fair. I have bills to pay." Mrs. Carter said, "That's enough, Anna. If you aren't happy, you know where the door is." Anna bit her lip and left. I wanted to run after her, but I stayed. I felt like I was watching someone drown and I couldn't do anything. I remembered what Emily said. I needed to hold on. I tried to save some files in my bag when Mrs. Carter wasn't looking. I tried to remember everything I saw. After work, I found Emily near the back door. I said, "They're trying to erase everything. They're firing anyone who says something. I got promoted, but I think it's just to keep me quiet." Emily said, "They don't know. They're scared. If you have any files, hide them now. And don't use your locker at work. Someone tried to break into it." My eyes widened. "Are you sure?" She nodded. "Look!" She showed me a tiny scratch on my locker number. My heart raced with fear and anger. They were trying to find out who was the informant. I thought about Anna getting her hours taken, Carlos scared for his health, and all the others who just wanted a fair job. I felt a fire in my chest. "Emily, what if they catch me?" I whispered. She squeezed my hand. "You're so close, Lena. The labor board said they need a little more time, then they'll come for real." I nodded. I wanted to believe her, but every minute at SupremeShop was getting harder. As I left for the night, I saw Anna in the parking lot, crying. I walked over. She said, "Why do they treat us like this? I just wanted my hours." I hugged her. "It isn't right. Hang on, Anna, please." It was all I could say. Just then, my phone buzzed. I got a message from another unknown number. It said, "We know what you're doing. Better watch your back." I stared at Anna, shaking. My heartbeat sounded like thunder in my ears. I didn't know who to trust anymore. The next day, I had to walk back into the store, not sure if I would make it through without being caught. Someone was getting closer. Would I be found out before help arrived? The next day felt like walking on ice. My heart beat fast every time someone looked at me. I went straight to the staff room, but I could feel eyes following me. Some coworkers smiled, but most stared down or away. I didn't blame them. We were all scared. I saw Mr. Johnson talking to Mrs. Carter near the registers. They were whispering, but I heard Mr. Johnson's voice. He sounded angry. He said, "Someone is playing games with us. Someone is not loyal." Mrs. Carter looked right at me and nodded. She said, "We'll find out who. We always do." My hands got sweaty. I tried to breathe slow and just act normal. Around lunchtime, Mr. Johnson called everyone together. He stood in front of the staff and crossed his arms. He yelled, "Listen up. Someone here is stealing from the company. Someone is trying to ruin your jobs." I tried not to look scared, but my stomach hurt with worry. I watched as people whispered. Some looked at their shoes. Anna was biting her nails. Carlos looked pale. Mr. Johnson kept talking. "Whoever is doing this will be caught, and they will never work again. Not here, not anywhere." Inside, I felt cold. Was he talking about me? Did he know? After the meeting, I hurried outside and called Emily. My voice shook. "Emily, they know someone is helping the labor board. They're going to find out soon." Emily sounded worried too. She said, "Stay calm. Just do exactly what we planned. Delete messages after you read them. Hide your files somewhere safe." I wanted to cry. I said, "What if they catch me, or you?" Emily said, "We'll make a new plan. But you're almost done, Lena. Don't give up now." That night, as I walked to my car, I noticed a dark SUV parked across the street. I kept walking, but my heart pounded. I wondered, is someone following me? I sped up and looked behind me. The car didn't move, but I felt their eyes on me. When I got home, I heard my phone buzz. My screen glowed, a new message from a number I didn't know. The message said, "You can't hide, we're watching." I jumped off my bed, scared. I called Emily again. "Emily, they sent me another message. I'm scared. They might be outside my house." Emily said, "Don't answer. Don't open the door for anyone you don't know. Tomorrow, bring your evidence to school. I'll help you back it up." I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. "Okay," I said. My voice was small. "What if it's too late?" Emily said, "Not yet. Hold on, Lena." The next morning, things got worse. I walked in and saw Mrs. Carter at the lockers. She pulled me over. She said, "We've been checking everyone's things. Just a routine search." I tried to act bored. "Okay," I said. She opened my locker. My stomach twisted. But I had hidden the files at home. She found nothing, but she still glared at me. She said, "Some secrets don't stay secret for long. Remember that." I nodded and hurried away. As I left, Anna grabbed my arm. She whispered, "They made me sign a paper saying I never worked overtime." My mouth dropped open. "That's a lie," I said. Anna looked close to tears. "They said they'd fire me otherwise. I need this job. What do I do?" I hugged her. I felt angry and helpless. "Just hang on, please trust me," I said. Mr. Johnson called me to his office that afternoon. He sat behind his desk and stared at me for a long time. He said, "Do you want to keep this job, Lena?" I felt so scared. "Yes," I said, "I do." He leaned forward. "You aren't causing trouble, are you?" I shook my head, but my voice was a whisper. "No, sir." He picked up a folder and closed it without opening it. Good. Loyalty matters most in this company. I left the office, heart racing. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell the truth so badly. Instead, I kept my head down and texted Emily. I don't know if I can do this anymore. They're looking everywhere. They searched my locker. Emily replied, You can. Just a little more, Lena. Meet me tonight. I have news. As I left the store, I saw a tall man in a suit near the parking lot. I thought he waved at me, but then he disappeared into the crowd. Was he friend or enemy? I didn't know, but something big was about to happen, and this time I wasn't sure if I was ready. A cold wind blew my hair as I unlocked the store early that morning. My hands were shaking. I tried to act normal, but my mind raced with worry. The labor board inspectors were coming today. They would finally see what Mr. Johnson and Mrs. Carter did, but would they find out I was helping? I walked in and saw Mr. Johnson and Mrs. Carter rushing around. Mr. Johnson was red-faced. He said, Line up those files now. Everything must look perfect. Mrs. Carter snapped, Tell every worker what to say. No one talks about overtime or extra work. I felt my stomach twist. My coworkers all looked scared. Anna whispered to me, What's happening, Lena? I leaned close and said, Just answer the questions honestly. Don't be afraid. Anna nodded, but her eyes filled with tears. I can't lose this job, she said. Carlos came over, holding his back. He said, Is this about the pay? Will things get better? I nodded and whispered, I hope so, Carlos. Really, I do. Mr. Johnson clapped his hands. Everyone, to your positions. Inspectors come soon. Remember, stay loyal, say nothing bad. The doors opened and 3 people walked in. They wore suits and held clipboards. My heart pounded. I wanted to hide, but I knew I had a job to do. I took a deep breath and went to the register. One inspector came up to me and smiled. He said, Hi, I'm Mr. Evans. Can I ask you a few questions? I nodded. Yes, sir, I said, trying to look calm. He said, Has anyone ever asked you to work past your shift? I felt everyone's eyes on me. My hands were cold. Sometimes, I said softly. He wrote something on his paper. Did you get paid for all your hours? I wanted to shout the truth. I remembered Emily's words, Don't lie, but don't give away everything. I'm not sure, sir, I said. It's all in the time clock. He nodded and smiled. Thank you, Lena. I watched as the inspectors walked around the store. They looked at the time clock. They talked to Anna, Carlos, and Sam. Everyone looked nervous. I bit my lip and tried not to cry. Mrs. Carter and Mr. Johnson followed the inspectors everywhere. Mrs. Carter whispered to Anna, Remember what I told you, as Anna walked past. Anna looked like she wanted to disappear. She said to the inspectors, I always follow company rules. Carlos's face was pale. He said to me, I told them the truth. I don't care if I get fired. I'm too tired to lie anymore. I squeezed his hand and said, You're brave, Carlos. The inspectors looked at paperwork, then at my managers. Mr. Johnson laughed too loudly and said, See, everything's perfect here. But his hands shook. Mr. Evans called me back. He said quietly, If you need to share anything, my card is in your bag. You can trust me. My heart raced. I felt hope for the first time in weeks. Suddenly, Mrs. Carter rushed at me. She said, What did you tell them, Lena? Did you say something stupid? I shook my head. No, ma'am, I just answered their questions. She leaned in and whispered, You better stay quiet or you're gone. The inspectors gathered near the break room. Mr. Johnson and Mrs. Carter hurried to them. I watched as the inspectors quietly spoke together. The room felt frozen. Emily texted, How did it go? Can you talk? I typed, Not yet, they're still here, I'm scared. One inspector opened a cabinet and found a pile of shredded papers. He frowned. I saw Mr. Johnson's face go white. Suddenly, Mr. Evans called out, Mrs. Carter, can you come here? Everyone's eyes turned to her. She glared at me, then stomped off. Carlos whispered, Do you think it's over? I whispered, Not yet, but maybe soon. Mr. Johnson's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen, then glared at me. He hissed, "You'll regret this, Lena. No one likes rats." I felt tears burn my eyes, but I stood tall. I had to stay strong. The inspectors stayed late, looking at everything. When they finally left, the air was thick with fear and worry. Anna grabbed my arm and whispered, "What do we do now?" I said, "We wait." But in my mind, I heard Mr. Johnson's words again. Would he find out the truth about me before things changed for good? The store felt like a trap. Every shadow felt sharp. Every word sounded testing. I tried to work, but my mind was rushing with worry. Mr. Johnson was on the warpath. He marched through every aisle, his eyes searching each face. At lunch, he called everyone together again. He slammed his hand on a table and shouted, "Someone betrayed us. There is a rat among us. I will find you." His voice shook with anger. I sat still. Sweat dripped down my back. Anna looked at me, her eyes wide with fear. Carlos coughed and stared at his shoes. Mr. Johnson's face twisted. He said, "People don't hurt their family. Traitors will never work again." He glared right at me. Mrs. Carter stood beside him. She said, "We will do searches. No phones allowed on shift. If you hide something, you will be fired on the spot." Inside, I felt hot and cold at the same time. What if they found my notes? Or my hidden email to Emily? I felt like everyone was looking at me, but I kept my head down and pushed my hands deep in my pockets. After the meeting, Anna rushed over. She whispered, "Do you think they know?" My throat felt tight. "I'm not sure," I said. "Just don't say anything." She nodded and walked away quickly. I went to the bathroom to think. My hands shook. I texted Emily. "They are talking about a traitor. They might know it's me. I'm scared." Emily wrote, "You can't quit now. Just follow the failsafe plan. If anyone follows you, call me right away." I texted back, "What if they catch me?" I wanted to cry. Emily wrote, "You won't be alone. Remember what's at stake." Later, as I was stocking shelves, I noticed a man in a hoodie by the doorway. Every time I moved, he moved. Cold fear crept into my chest. When my shift ended, I hurried outside. The air was cold. I felt a shadow behind me. Someone was following me too close. I spun around and said, "Who are you? Why are you following me?" A deep voice said, "Watch yourself. People who break the rules get hurt." I tried to step back, but he came closer. "Don't talk to anyone, or next time it will be worse for you," he said. My legs felt weak. I almost fell, but I made it to my car and locked the door. My hands shook so hard I almost dropped my phone. I called Emily right away. "Someone followed me. He threatened me." Emily sounded really angry. "You need to be careful. Change your route home. Don't walk alone." Tears started falling down my cheeks. "I don't know if I can do this," I said. Emily said, "Listen, Lena, you are so close. The labor board called. They want you to hang on just a little longer. They are almost ready." I sniffled and wiped my eyes. "I'll try, Emily, but they are so scary. I want this to be over." Emily said, "It will end, I promise." The next day, my boss called me into his office. His face was red again. He pointed at a folder. He said, "Someone gave private company files to the board. Someone has been talking. Lena, do you know anything about this?" My heart pounded so loud I could barely hear. I shook my head and said, "No, I don't know anything." He leaned in close, his eyes dark. "If I find out it's you, you'll be sorry." I nodded, pretending not to shake, and left the office fast. Afterwards, Anna ran to me. She whispered, "They asked me the same thing. I told them nothing. But I'm afraid, Lena." I hugged her. "I'm scared too, but we have to stay strong." As I walked out to the parking lot, I saw the man in the hoodie again. This time, he was on the phone. He stared at me. I felt frozen. He mouthed the words, "We know." I barely made it home. That night, I met with a woman from the labor board in a small cafe. She looked tired but kind. She said, "We have almost everything, Lena. You are very brave." I said, "I'm so scared. They know something. Am I in danger?" She said, "Just hold on a couple more days. Don't change your routine. Be careful. We'll contact you soon." I nodded. When she left, I checked behind me over and over. My phone buzzed again. Another message from a strange number. Tick, tick, tick. Time's almost up. I stared at the phone and shivered. Would they find out who I was before the truth came out?